Hello and welcome to this module, which is all around best practices for trigger phrases. There's no lab for this particular module, but there is a quiz as we go through, so follow along with that. Trigger phrases. What are trigger phrases? So we've been working with trigger phrases a little bit in the labs, and trigger phrases are they trigger the chatbot to begin a conversation about a specific topic. So trigger phrases are related to topics, and they are the phrases that initiate that conversation flow in the authoring canvas about that particular topic. So these trigger phrases are super important, and getting them right is important as well. So what are the best ways of creating good trigger phrases? Well, here's some guidelines. First of all, clearly understand the goal and scope of the topic. So really understand what the user's intent is, and so you need to go through the exercise of the previous module, going through understanding what the topic is a really valuable exercise, because that helps you create better trigger phrases. So once you know the goal and scope of the topic, then you can go to create 5 to 10 trigger phrases that clearly align to the goal and scope of the topic that you want the person to be doing, or the person wants to do, the intent of the user. Shorter trigger phrases with fewer than 10 words are generally better. There's a NLP engine that will pick things up and be able to sort of infer other ways of saying the same thing, but make sure that the trigger phrases are semantically different. We'll have some examples of those as we go through this module. But just make sure they're semantically different ways of asking the same thing. Super important to use the words customers use. We work a lot with law firms, and they deal with clients and matters. So a lawyer would talk about a matter. Other people might see a matter as a project, but it's not. Lawyers call them matters. So make sure you use the words that your customers would use. And avoid trigger phrases that are ambiguous among different topics. So this is around having good topic design so that there is little or no overlap between topics. What is good is that a topic checker, that we didn't actually talk about topic checker, but if we look at a topic, there is a topic checker, which is here, and that will tell you like errors and warnings that it finds within this topic, and tell you how to improve it. So if you've got the same trigger phrase, for example, like if I've got order a product, and here's a trigger phrase for order something. Now if I was to add that order something to here, then the topic checker should prompt me to say there's something wrong with it. Maybe it'll take a while for it to, maybe when I test it. But that's an example of an ambiguous a trigger phrase across two topics. I have seen it pop up before. It might just take a while for it to show up. Or maybe because I've not actually added a message here. Save it. If I just type order something, what's going to happen? So it's actually clearing what it's clarifying here. So ideally you don't want to do that. So you wouldn't want to do that in your bots. You'd want to make sure that your trigger phrases that your trigger phrases are not ambiguous among different topics. So you try to avoid that as much as you can. As you can see there is a clarification engine that will ask the person what are they wanting to do, but just try to avoid that in the first place. So step one, we went through topic selection earlier. This is another representation um, of of a business process. You've got a checkout phase, you've got a post-sale phase, then you've got particular tasks within that post-sale phase. Pick where you want the bot to be. Define the goal for that topic. So in the topic design module just before this one, we went through a process of going through defining the goals, what that topic is going to be, is about, and what people can do and what people can learn in that topic. Then you create your trigger phrases, 5 to 10 phrases, shorter phrase with less than 10 words generally better. And then you review these phrases. This is where you make sure that they are semantically different. So using one different noun or verb could be enough to expand a topic's coverage in terms of the AI that's being used. So these things are semantically different. What you wouldn't do is things like this. These aren't good trigger phrases. There's no point adding in different different articles or different contractions of a word because the natural language processing engine already does this anyway. So there's no point doing this. And then here, this is where we're showing avoid ambiguous phrases across topics, because then you'll just get the user will see that hey, what do you want to do kind of question, rather than going straight to the topic. So do avoid those ambiguous phrases. Okay, bit of a quiz. Let's go through a quiz. For the topic return an item, select the best trigger phrase from below. Which one of these is the best trigger phrase from below? Pause the video, have a read of them, choose your answer, and they'll tell you the answer. The answer is A. I want to return an item. Now that doesn't mean that that C isn't good. It does depend on the business logic and if you wanted that particular scenario to be within your topic scope. So C might be okay. B is terrible. Too complicated, ridiculous. That is not a good trigger phrase. Let's have a look at another one. For the topic return an item, please select the good trigger phrases from below. So pick any number of trigger phrases from below, hit pause, choose your answer, and we'll come back with the answer. They're all good. They're all good. They're all short. They all are different from each other. So A is particularly good because it's simple and direct. You would need to make sure that return policy is within your topic. You make sure it's within your conversation. Return my refrigerator. It's good, simple and direct. You need to make sure your topic covers refrigerator. Now, refrigerator might be an entity, a particular product that can be returned. And then you can have different slots, so you can keep referring back to the refrigerator during the conversation. How can I make a return? It's good because so in the in B and in B, return is a verb, but whereas in C it's a noun. So it's letting the AI know, it's letting the AI model know that return can be used as a noun in this particular scenario. And D is good because it's if you've got many items, you can't list them, then you're saying to the AI that an item or some items is in scope for triggering off this particular topic. Question number 3. For the topic return an item, here is a sentence from a real customer chat log. From real customer chat logs. Write some trigger phrases for this phrase. For return an item, write some trigger phrases for that. So hit pause, spend a minute or two just writing out some trigger phrases for the phrase, I'm a member of your store for over 5 years. I was wondering how to return items that I got yesterday. I don't like the colour. What are good trigger phrases for that sentence? Hit pause and come back. Okay, so the answer is, or the answers are, So there's actually a little bit of a framework here. What you can do is you can look at what is the intent of the person. So that sentence, what is the intent? And the way you get to the intent is you can strip all the words out that are superfluous. So in terms of member of your store values, doesn't matter. No, it's not about the intent. I was wondering, that's not about the intent. Like, even though they are wondering, which is a verb in itself, they are doing something, and that's not the intent. The intent is they want to return items that they bought yesterday. I don't like the colour, why doesn't matter either. The intent is how to return items that I got yesterday. So you can add, so once you've narrowed it all the way down to just the intent, you then add trigger phrases with different keywords around that particular intent. So some good ones here: how to return something that I purchased last week, how to return something that I bought yesterday, how to return products, how to return orders, how to return items that I got yesterday. And note that I got yesterday is a specific phrase that customer is using. So we're going to put that in the trigger phrases, because that's how the customer's talking. That's how they're talking and chatting to the chatbot. Question 4. For the return an item topic, which trigger phrases below would you include as a start? Which trigger phrases would you include as a start? Hit pause, read them, and come back for the answer. So the answer is they're all very, very similar. A bit of a trick question. So you'd only use one of them. Any one of these is totally fine. Doesn't matter which one. Any one of these is fine, but not more than one, because they are the same. They're the same trigger phrase, just in different ways. Now the NLP engine, the AI within Power Virtual Agents, will recognize all of these as the same trigger phrase. So just one, any one is good, but more than one is incorrect. And the final question for the quiz. For the topic, my appliance doesn't work. My appliance doesn't work is the topic. Please select the best trigger phrase from below. Let's have a look at those. What is the best trigger phrase of those four for that topic? Hit pause and come back in a sec. So the answer to this is D, something is wrong with my appliance. Let's go through them in turn. I want to buy another dishwasher. So this isn't related to the topic. The topic is my appliance doesn't work. That is not related to my appliance doesn't work. My freezer doesn't work. Now this is actually okay. It depends on the scope. If you sell hair care products, then my freezer doesn't work is not relevant. So it might be if you sell appliances, then that if freezer is an appliance and maybe that's an entity in itself, then this would be okay. B would be okay. C, too broad. I have a problem. Again, it's too broad. There's that could go to many different topics in a chatbot. Something is wrong with my appliance. Simple, direct. That works. So D is the best answer. Oh, there's one more. There's a bonus one. Sorry, I thought there was only 5. Let me just double check how many there are. I think this is definitely the last one. Yep, question 6. Okay. Below is a sentence from a real customer chat. Which topic should we add this trigger phrase to? Do we add it to return? So my new refrigerator stops working, so I want to return it. Which one would you add it to? Would you add it to return item? Appliance doesn't work. You wouldn't add it to any of them, or you'd add it to both. Which is the best answer there? The correct answer is C. So you wouldn't add it to the other two. I mean, it's a bad trigger phrase because it is too ambiguous. So you wouldn't add it to any of the two topics. The AI model Did You Mean will further clarify customers and ask them to choose a topic. So that's what we saw earlier in the video. So this here is the Did You Mean algorithm. So it's picked up the fact that this is in 2 and it's saying, did you mean to do this? So this is where the topic title the topic name will be presented to the user. So topic name is also something to consider when you're building out these topics as well. So that's designing topics and trigger phrases. One more thing to go in best practice, and that's around conversational style, and I'll see you there in a second.